Ukraine defeated Putin's fleets on 51 fronts in Pokrovsk today. It is Saturday, January 31st, 2026, and despite the absolute flood
thwarted a
of,
large-scale
doom and
Russian
gloom
attack
headlines
and
you might be seeing
embattled
on social
Pokrovsk
media,
city in
the
eastern
reality on the
Donetsk region,
ground
inflicting
is painting
heavy
a very,
losses
very
on the
different
Russian
picture.
army.
But before
20
we jump
Russian
in, a quick appeal
soldiers
to our
were
audience
killed,
supporting
and
Ukraine.
3 others
Subscribe to
were
Defense
wounded during the
Reports. It's your
operation to
go-to
repel
source
the
for
Russian
timely,
troops'
in-depth
advance.
military and defense reports.
Video footage shared in
Alex.
social
Join me
media
with Oreo
shows
for the
slain
latest
Russian
deep dive by
troops
Defense
scattered in a
Report. We do
forested
sharp,
area after the
no-nonsense
battle.
breakdowns of global
The
defense,
video also
military
captures
tech.
Ukraine's
Today, we're
precision
covering
strikes
an
on
anomaly
Russian
that experts are
convoy of
calling the
military
vinaigrette
equipment
front.
in a
It's
snowy
a
road along
fascinating
the
and
front
frankly
line.
terrifying development.
The
We're gonna look at
operation was
why
carried
a
out
city
by the
that Russian
46th
propaganda is
Separate
calling
Airmobile
encircled
Brigade
is
of the
actually
Air
this
Assault
chaotic,
Forces of the
deadly
Armed
mix
Forces
where
of Ukraine.
traditional logistics are
Russians
basically
attempted
dying.
to
And we're
attack
also
the
going to
brigade's
unpack a major
positions,
tech betrayal.
deploying 4
We're talking
units
about a
of armored
specific piece of U.S.
vehicles.
technology being found
During
on
the
cheap
battle,
Russian plywood
Ukrainian
drones.
paratroopers
Drones striking
obliterated
deep
1
into
Russian
Ukraine.
tank and 2
And the
armored
diplomatic
fighting
side
vehicles.
is just as messy. There was a
Being a
secret request
logistic
from
and
President
transport
Trump
hub,
to Putin about the energy
Pokrovsk has
grid.
been the
We
focal
need to
point of
ask, did it
hostilities,
actually hold up
with
today?
Russian forces
Plus,
applying
stay with us
sustained
for this story
offensive
of a
pressure on
phantom
the city
flag
for
in
many months as
Zaporizhia.
part of their broader
A victory
campaign in
staged
the
just
eastern
for a
industrial
camera crew
Donbass region.
who were then,
Heavy
eliminated
fighting
just
continues on the
hours
ground
later.
with
It's a lot
dozens
to
of
get
combat
through.
engagements
let's dive in.
daily, and Russian
sources we
troops
have
have
for
made
today,
advances
January
in and
31st,
around
are
urban areas,
staggering.
capturing
We're talking
new
the General
territory
Staff
and
of
conducting
Ukraine,
mechanized
ISW
assaults
deep
and
state
infiltration
maps.
attempts
The headline
against
number
Ukrainian
is
positions.
135 total
Ukrainian
combat
military
clashes
officials
across
report
the
that they
entire
still
front
hold parts
in the
of
last 24
Pokrovsk,
hours.
Which is
particularly
already a
in the
very
northern
high tempo.
districts.
But the real story is where
Ukrainian
those
forces
clashes
have
happened.
reclaimed
Out of those
territory in the north of the city
135,
and
a
around
staggering
surrounding
51
settlements
of
and
them,
raised the
51 were
Ukrainian
in the
flag in
Pokrovsk
central
sector
areas,
alone.
although the
more than a
defensive
third of the entire
situation
war.
remains
Yeah.
difficult.
All focused on one city.
It's the absolute center of gravity right now, no question. And because of that, the information space is just, it's filled with panic. Russian Telegram channels are screaming about a cauldron, claiming a full encirclement.
Right, I've seen those maps with the big red arrows trying to swallow the city, but the actual data from analysts on the ground, it tells a different story. So let's just debunk this right now. Is Pokrovsk encircled?
The short answer is no. Not even close. There is no full encirclement. But the situation is incredibly dangerous, not in the way traditional map shows it.
Okay.
Pavlo Lakichuk from the Strategy XXI Center used this metaphor that I think just perfectly captures it. He called the front line in Pokrovsk a vinaigrette.
A vinaigrette, like the salad.
Exactly like a mixed salad. I mean, think about it visually. In a normal war, you have a solid blue line for your guys and a solid red line for the enemy.
Clear boundaries.
Right. But in Pokrovsk, those lines have completely dissolved. The forces are literally mixed together.
So it's not a line anymore, it's a texture.
Yeah.
A gray zone.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's a chaotic gray zone.
Yeah.
You could have Ukrainian defenders in one apartment block and Russian infiltrators in the basement right next door.
Wow.
It means there is no continuous front.
That sounds like a logistical nightmare. I mean, how do you even supply your troops in a vinaigrette?
That's the thing. You don't, or at least not in the traditional way. You can't just drive a supply truck down the main road.
Because you have no idea who controls the next intersection.
Exactly. It could be yours, it could be theirs, or it could be nobody's. It just kills traditional supply lines.
And this chaos, it's deliberate, right? This is a shift in Russian tactics. We're not seeing those huge meat grinder assaults with columns of tanks anymore.
That seems to be on pause, at least here. I think they realized sending huge columns of armor was just an invitation for Ukrainian artillery and drones. So now they've switched to what they call smart infiltration.
Smart infiltration. That sounds...
Ukrainian
almost
troops
generous.
continue striking
It's
Russian
effective for
army
creating
positions
chaos.
in
They're sending
occupied
in
parts
small
of
groups,
eastern
maybe
Donetsk
200 or
region.
300 soldiers.
Video
And get
footage
this,
released in
sometimes on
social media
motorcycles.
shows
Motorcycles.
Ukraine's
In
drone
January.
strikes on a Russian position,
It's freezing in
ammunition
Ukraine.
storage
It
site,
sounds
and
desperate, I
equipment
know.
in
But it's
occupied
fast.
Seladov
It
city
has
in
small heat
Pokrovsk.
signature, moves
The
over
video
broken
filmed by
ground,
Russian
and it's
troops
much harder
captures
to hit with
moments of
artillery
Ukraine's
than,
precision
say,
strikes.
a BMP.
In the
They
video,
rush
panicking
these little
Russian
groups
soldiers
into
are pointing at the
specific
facilities
buildings
that come
in the
under
Luzerny and
intense
Kivden
fire by
districts.
Ukrainian
A
drones.
swarm, exactly.
The strikes
And
are
here's the
followed by
propaganda
strong
trick.
fire in the
The
area.
second a Russian
It should be
sabotage group
noted that
enters a
Ukrainian
building,
troops have
the
scaled up
map makers back in
airstrikes on
Moscow
Russian
keep
military
that
and
entire
strategic
city
facilities in
blocked.
occupied parts of
Giving this
Ukraine,
illusion of control.
as well as on
Total
Russian
illusion.
territory.
The map says captured.
The
but
barrage of
reality
drones
is
and
there might be
missiles are
just
aimed
5
at
guys
undermining
inside.
Russia's
Who were then
efforts to
taken out
continue
in
the
that
nearly
way.
4-year
Frequently,
war.
yes. The
The
soldiers
targets
are gone,
include air
but that
bases,
red
fuel
chain on the map,
depots,
it
ammunition
stays. It
storage
shows
sites,
progress for the
radar
Kremlin.
installations,
completely
and
manufactured
industrial
reality.
facilities
So how
linked
is
to
Ukraine
weapons
responding?
production.
Because if the enemy is mixed
The
in with your
attacks
own
come amid
forces,
the lack
you
of
can't just
results
shell
in
the
U.S.-led
city.
peace
You'd be hitting your own
negotiations
people.
as
And
Russia
this is where the
continues its
Ukrainian
earlier
response has
demands
been
for
so
eastern parts of
impressive. They haven't
Ukraine.
just thrown more infantry at the problem. They've launched this unprecedented special operation inside the city.
We're not talking regular army units, though.
No, we're seeing the heavy hitters. The GUR, the main intelligence directorate, the SSO special ops forces, even the SBU.
So they're treating it like a high-end clearing, not a simple frontline battle.
Precisely. It's become surgical. There are even reports that Kirilo Budanov, the GUR chief, arrived personally to take control of the situation.
Okay, when Budanov shows up, you know it's absolutely critical.
He doesn't go to the quiet spots. And speaking of special ops, there was that rumor about Blackhawks, right?
Yes, I saw that. U.S.-made UH-60 Blackhawks operating right there in the city.
And it seems to be true. Reports confirm Blackhawks inserting special forces right into the northern industrial zone.
I mean, that's straight out of a movie. Was it a political gesture, a bit of a show?
Some analysts are arguing it was a military necessity. It goes back to that vinaigrette problem. If the roads are cut off, how do you get your elite reinforcements into a specific pocket to hold a logistics route?
You fly them in over the top.
Exactly. The risk is off the charts, but it's high reward. It shows that despite the Russian narrative of a collapse, Ukraine is fighting back with aggressive, high-tech moves.
They're air assaulting into their own city. That's incredible resilience.
It is.
Okay, so that's the ground.
Russia's
We need to
northern
pivot to
city of
the air,
Murmansk was
because while
hit
the
by a
GUR
massive
is clearing
blackout following
buildings,
issues with the
something
power
really
grid.
disturbing is happening
According to
overhead.
authorities,
talking about
several
the
transmission towers
Molniya
supplying
drones.
electricity to the
Molniya,
city
which means
collapsed due to
lightning.
severe
Yes.
weather.
And these are not
According
your
to
high-end
Associated
predators.
Press,
These
a
are
thick
cheap,
layer of ice formed
fixed-wing
on the power
drones. We're
lines,
talking
and the structures
plywood
fell
and
under
plastic.
strong
Plywood,
winds,
so basically
officials said.
hobby planes.
Almost.
The outage left
But
most
they're
of the
deadly
city
because
without
of one
electricity.
key detail. This
Heating
is the
and water
Technotrail we
supplies
mentioned.
were
They are
disrupted
being
after
found
electric
equipped
pumps
with
shut down.
Starlink terminals.
With no power across the city,
Starlink?
traffic
How-
lights
I
went
thought
out,
the whole point
leading
was that
to
it was
traffic
geofenced
jams
so
and
Russia
road
couldn't use it in
accidents.
occupied territories.
That was the official line,
Electric-powered
yes.
public
But
transport
reports from
was
the front,
also
confirmed
suspended.
by Ukrainian defense officials,
Due to the loss
say
of
Russia
heating
is
and
smuggling them
electricity,
in through third
Murmansk
countries and
authorities
finding
opened
ways to make them
emergency
work.
assistance
But
centers
why
where
would a
residents can
plywood
heat
drone
food, collect
need
water, and
high-speed
charge
internet?
mobile phones.
It changes the entire game.
Yeah.
It enables what we call deep battle. Normal radio control for a drone like that gets weak, or more importantly, it gets jammed by electronic warfare.
Right.
But with Starlink, a Russian operator can sit 100 kilometers behind the lines and fly that drone with a perfect video feed.
So they're hitting logistics and supply hubs way in the rear.
Exactly, way beyond the tactical zone. It's a massive capability jump for a cheap, disposable drone. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry is now working directly with SpaceX, trying to identify these terminals by their IDs and just brick them remotely.
A game of whack-a-mole.
A constant game of whack-a-mole. And it's not just
Сегодня
Starlink. There's
24
another
января
bit of tech
2026
here.
года. Время у нас 7 утра. Мы находимся в поселке городского типа Лоуси. На
Same
подстанции
principle. It's
330
a drone on a
киловольт.
wire.
Идет
It
погрузка
spools out
опоры,
a super
выдвигается
thin
можно
fiber optic cable as it flies.
And because the signal is going through a physical wire,
It's completely unjammable. Electronic warfare is useless against it. It's perfect for that intense, close-quarters vinaigrette fighting. They can fly it right into a bunker with crystal-clear video.
it's just every single time one side develops the countermeasure, the other side just changes the physics of the problem. The sheer volume of this is what gets me. I saw a stat for January from the Ukrainian Air Force.
The January totals, yes. Ukrainian air defense shot down 9,707 aerial targets.
Almost 10,000
Yeah.
in 31 days.
That's over 300 targets a day, every single day. Drones, missiles, guided bombs. It's an industrial-scale swarm. It's a miracle the systems are holding up.
Okay, so we've got the chaos in Pokrovsk, the tech war,
Right.
but what's happening elsewhere? You mentioned a phantom flag earlier.
Right, this was down in the Zaporizhia sector, near a settlement called Ternivate. And this story really highlights Russia's TikTok warrior strategy.
TikTok warrior, as in it's all for the camera.
100%. So the weather's terrible, visibility is zero. A small Russian sabotage group sneaks into the very edge of the settlement.
They didn't capture it.
Oh no. They got in, planted a Russian flag on a building, filmed it, and immediately posted it to Telegram claiming they'd taken the whole town.
So for an hour, the internet thinks Russia made a huge advance.
Exactly. But in reality, Ukrainian forces eliminated that entire group shortly after they finished filming. The flag is
thwarted
gone.
a large-scale
the
Russian
soldiers are
attack
gone,
in embattled
but
Pokrovsk
the
city
lie,
in
the
eastern
video,
Donetsk
it
region,
lives online
inflicting
forever.
heavy
It's
losses
creating
on the
an
Russian
alternate
army.
reality to demoralize
20
Western
Russian
partners.
And we
soldiers
see
were
it in
killed,
Kupiansk,
and
too.
3 others
There
were
are
wounded
about
during the
50 Russian
operation to
soldiers
repel the
totally
Russian troops'
isolated in a
advance.
factory north of the city.
Video
They're cut
footage
off,
shared in
being
social
supplied only by
media
drone
shows
drops.
slain Russian
So why not
troops
just clear them
scattered
out?
in a
It's a cold
forested area
calculation.
after the battle.
Why risk Ukrainian
The
lives
video
storming a
also
fortified
captures
factory when the
Ukraine's
enemy is
precision
trapped?
strikes
They
on
can't
Russian
attack, they
convoy
can't
of
maneuver, so
military
Ukraine
equipment
just
in a
contains
snowy
them.
road
But on the
along
Russian
the front
propaganda
line.
maps,
That
The
factory is marked
operation
as
was
Russian
carried out
controlled
by the
territory.
46th Separate
Another
Airmobile
phantom
Brigade of
victory.
the Air
it's
Assault
amazing
Forces
how
of the
much of
Armed
this war is
Forces of
fought over
Ukraine.
perception.
Russians
What about
attempted
further
to
north,
attack the
near
brigade's
Sumy?
positions,
That's getting
deploying
concerning.
4
Russia's
units
trying
of
to create a
armored
buffer
vehicles.
zone there, pushing on settlements
During the
like
battle,
Pokrovsk.
Ukrainian
The problem
paratroopers
is the terrain
obliterated
is
1
changing.
Russian tank
How
and
so?
2
It's
armored
moving
fighting
from open
vehicles.
villages into dense
Being a
forests.
logistic and transport hub,
forests are a nightmare
Pokrovsk has
for
been the focal
defenders.
point of
The tree
hostilities,
canopy can
with Russian
neutralize
forces
Ukraine's
applying
drone
sustained
advantage.
offensive pressure
It
on the
becomes a
city for many
brutal,
months as part of their
close-quarters
broader
infantry
campaign
fight.
in the
So
eastern
the
industrial
physical war is a
Donbass
complex
region.
grind. But we
Heavy
have to look at
fighting
the
continues
political
on the
layer,
ground with
diplomatic
dozens of
war.
combat
Those
engagements
talks in Abu
daily,
Dhabi
and
on
Russian
January
troops
23rd
have
and
made
24th.
advances
Yes,
in and
with the
around
US,
urban areas,
Ukraine, and
capturing
Russia.
new
And the
territory
language
and
coming out of
conducting
that is so
mechanized assaults
telling.
and
US
infiltration
Secretary of
attempts
State
against
Marco
Ukrainian
Rubio said the
positions.
central issue is
Ukrainian
territorial
military
control of
officials
Donetsk.
report that they still
Implying that
hold
if they
parts
can
of
just solve that one
Pokrovsk,
piece, the rest
particularly in the
follows.
northern
That
districts.
seems to be the American thinking.
Ukrainian
But the
forces
Kremlin
have
immediately
reclaimed
pushed back.
territory in the north
Kremlin
of the
aide
city
Yuri
and around
Ushakov
surrounding
said,
settlements
no,
and
there are
raised the
many other
Ukrainian
issues.
flag
They're
in
moving the
central
goalposts.
areas,
They're signaling
although
that
the
even if they
defensive
get all of
situation
Donetsk,
remains
they're
difficult.
not done. They want concessions on NATO, on demilitarization. They want to dismantle Ukraine's entire security architecture.
So while the U.S. is trying to solve a border dispute, Russia is trying to rewrite the security map of Europe.
That's the disconnect. And in the middle of all this, we have the energy grid. Today, January 31st, there were fierce frosts across Ukraine, massive power outages in Kiev, even a cascade shutdown affecting Moldova.
The grid is so fragile. But there was that report about a back-channel request.
Yeah, that President Trump made a personal request to Putin for a week-long moratorium on strikes against energy infrastructure.
So a ceasefire on the power grid. Did it work? Did it hold?
Technically, maybe. President Zelensky reported no strikes on energy production facilities, the power plants themselves, but strikes on the logistics, the substations, the distribution nodes, they continue.
So Putin gets to tell Trump, see, I didn't bomb the power plants while the grid still collapses from the cold and previous damage.
Exactly. It's a very low-cost concession for him. He saves his missiles, lets the weather do the damage, and he looks cooperative to the new U.S. administration.
That is just remarkably cynical. But if we're talking about cynicism, we have to touch on the prisoner exchange, or rather, the repatriation of bodies.
This is one of the most heartbreaking stats I've seen. Around January 29th or 30th, Ukraine received the bodies of 1,000 fallen soldiers.
1,000 families getting the worst possible news.
It's a wave of grief. And in return, Russia took back 38.
Wait, 1,000 to 38? That disparity is just the loss ratio?
The loss ratio is high, but it's not that high. Analysts are pretty sure Russia is doing this deliberately. They're refusing to take back their own dead. If a soldier is left on the battlefield, he's not killed in action, he's missing.
Which means no compensation for the family.
No compensation. It hides the true scale of their losses from their own people. And at the same time, by sending 1,000 Ukrainian heroes back at
Ukrainian
once,
troops continue
huge
striking Russian
psychological
army
blow
positions in
inside Ukraine.
occupied parts of
Pure
eastern
cognitive
Donetsk
warfare.
It
region.
is. But it also
Video
tells you
footage
everything.
released in social
Ukraine
media
fights
shows
bring every
Ukraine's
single
drone
one
strikes
home.
on a Russian
Russia takes
position,
back 38
ammunition
and
storage
leaves the
site,
rest. It
and
shows you the
equipment in
values
occupied
driving
Seladov
this
city in
One side values
Pokrovsk.
its people, and the other
The
sees
video
them as
filmed by
competing
Russian
interests.
troops captures
it, in
moments
a
of
nutshell.
Ukraine's
Okay, so
precision
let's try to wrap this
strikes.
up. We have
In the
Pokrovsk,
video, panicking
surrounding
Russian
the
soldiers are
encirclement
pointing
is
at the
Leningrad.
facilities that come under
Chaotic
intense
mix of
fire by
high-tech
Ukrainian
spec ops
drones.
and desperate infiltration.
The strikes
We
are
have a
followed
tech
by
war
strong
where
fire
plywood
in the
drones
area.
with global satellite
It should
internet
be
are
noted
fighting
that Ukrainian
fiber-optic
troops have
drones
scaled
that
up
are
airstrikes on
unjammable.
Russian
And
military
a
and
diplomatic
strategic
front
facilities
full
in
of
occupied
phantom
parts of
flags,
Ukraine,
phantom
as
ceasefires,
well as on
and
Russian
grim,
territory.
grim disparity in
The
how we
barrage of
get
drones and missiles
For
are
me, the
aimed
key
at
takeaway today
undermining
is
Russia's
resilience.
efforts to
After all
continue
of
the
this,
nearly
after
4-year war.
135 clashes,
The
50
targets
attacks on
include
one
air
city,
bases,
the lines
fuel
are holding.
depots,
If they
ammunition
collapse,
storage
Russia keeps
sites,
promising
radar
peace and
installations, and
It's a
industrial
messy,
facilities
brutal
linked to
grind,
weapons
but the
production.
defense is active.
The
And the
attacks come
idea of
amid
the
the
gray
lack of
zone
results in
looks
U.S.-led peace
So here's a
negotiations
final
as
thought
Russia
for everyone
continues
listening.
its earlier
We
demands for
rely on
eastern
maps.
parts of
We
Ukraine.
want that clean red line and blue line. But if the front isn't a line anymore, if it's a series of chaotic pockets managed by Starlink lines and helicopters, does it really like encirclement? even mean anything in modern life? Or is it just a word used to scare politicians in the West into stopping it?
That
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Arya, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry. And don't forget, subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.